holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
We've signed a climate convention on the importance of economic instruments and free markets. Were included in this mammoth Agenda 21 document and the Rio Declaration. Let me be clear on one fundamental point. The United States fully intends to be the world's preeminent leader in protecting the global environment.
Coming up, Technocracy News. And greetings for today, April 12, 2019. I am Patrick Wood for Technocracy News and Trends. Two presidents weighed in on the intro to this broadcast, President Dwight D. Eisenhower and President George H.W. Bush, both talking about things that are of concern to Technocracy News and Trends, and other Americans in general, I might add. The global elite, however, today has a habit of pointing to things like this and calling them conspiracy theories. How can it be a theory when two presidents have talked openly and bluntly about the threat of scientific dictatorship, a la scientific elite, and the New World Order and Agenda 21, etc., being led by the United States? This is not a conspiracy. If there is a conspiracy, it's to suppress the truth from the top down, to keep the people in the dark. This is wrong. Well, a tip of the hat today to the small city of Moraga, California, located in the beautiful Bay Area just east of San Francisco. It's a small community, a little over 16,000 people. At one point, a Republican conservative bastion in California, which has since turned blue. But there are still some citizens there that are intensely conservative. Citizens in Moraga are pushing back on 5G towers. They're raising Cain, so to speak. And cities potentially, of course, have significant clout to change the 5G landscape, but they're typically too timid to do so, unfortunately. Most city councils will lay off decisions to federal and state regulations, and if that doesn't work, the 5G companies themselves are quick to become the schoolyard bully by threatening endless lawsuits. Well, the threat of lawsuits by somebody who has deep, deep pockets like a Verizon or a T-Mobile or AT&T is no small deal. This article starts out and says, an East Bay neighborhood's fight against 5G is the topic of a town council meeting scheduled for Wednesday night. Moraga residents are expected to turn out and demand the city do more to protect people from cell phone radiation exposure. In a fight that's been going on across the country and has particularly heated in the East Bay, Ellie Marks has been outspoken against 5G and cell phone companies for 11 years now. Here's a lady who has persistence, stamina, grit. There's no telling where this particular battle will end. They might be successful. They might be able to skew it in their direction a little bit. But Ellie Marks brings up a very interesting point when she says that 5G is an unneeded risk because fiber optic cable, properly laid throughout the community, can achieve exactly the same results as 5G with zero health implications. She's absolutely right. There was a time when companies were laying fiber optic cable to homes and businesses like crazy. And then, oddly enough, that activity just stopped when 5G started to come down the pike. Now, I wonder who could have gotten to the fiber companies to tell them, nope, don't do that anymore. We have a new plan to do it wirelessly. Well, with a little bit of extra effort, the same effect could be achieved by using fiber optic cable. Article number 2 is a creeper. If the movie The Walking Dead didn't creep you out, you'll have another chance to view another Channing Powell series based on the dystopian book called The Feed. And Channing Powell is the creator of the hit horror television series, of course, The Walking Dead. She's not easily spooked, supposedly, but Powell is now scared. She says terrified, actually, of what big tech might be up to. And while science fiction is usually futuristic, The Feed is based on currently developing technology designed to use brain-implanted chips to interface with the internet. The book itself that will be used to create this series is already being compared to 1984 and Brave New World. Time will tell if it's going to be a literary hit, but it will become a series. Movie critics are already agreeing with Channing Powell that The Feed is scary. The article states that the Amazon show is set in the near future, where we can share emotions, thoughts, and what we see with our eyes on a social network embedded in our brains. If that sounds as far-fetched as the post-apocalyptic zombies of The Walking Dead, Powell has news for you. She says, Elon Musk and Facebook are already trying to develop the technology portrayed in the show. Well, we'll see. It'll be on Prime TV, I suppose, sponsored by Amazon, maybe elsewhere as well. The last story today is an update titled End of Rockefeller Foundation's 100 Resilient Cities, Perplexes Recipients. Now, cities have been left in the lurch, and they're wondering what happened to the 100 RC initiative that we wrote about at Technocracy News a few days ago. Resilience, of course, is prescribed in Sustainable Development Goal number 11. Quote, make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. The whole concept of resilient cities is drawn directly from United Nations propaganda, and the Rockefeller Foundation was leading the charge, more or less, as far as NGOs are concerned, to help cities around the world become more resilient and subsequently more saturated in sustainable development. The article states, now, as cities endeavor to implement plans for disaster-proof infrastructure, improved civic cohesion, and other projects that tie into their localized definition of resilience, they are wondering how they might do so in the absence of the high-profile organization's robust offerings, financial support, planning expertise, private sector connections, and a forum to exchange ideas and best practices. Well, the Rockefeller Foundation has had a big impact on sustainable development, and indeed it was David Rockefeller who founded the Trilateral Commission in 1973, which proposed a new international economic order, which later became sustainable development. That occurred at the 1992 Rio de Janeiro conference in Brazil. So it's not surprising that Rockefeller philanthropic organizations would be quite active in promoting sustainable development throughout the planet, and they have. The question remains, why did they pull out of their 100 Resilient Cities project? They're letting all of the employees go, apparently, although they've pledged to commit funds to help them find other jobs in the sustainable development community, I presume, and they've laid off funds on other organizations to carry on with resilience, like the Atlantic Institute, for instance. Now we wonder what kind of direction the Rockefeller Foundation will take. The shock is not so much that they let 100 RC go. The question is, in my mind, where will they reallocate their resources, which are massive in scale, and where will they surface next? What kind of project will they be involved in? Well, we may not have to wait long. We'll keep watching. I'm Patrick Wood for Technocracy News and Trends. Have a great day.